So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and reach me out at my email ID. It's manu@itamerica.com. It's manu@itamerica.com. Okay, and you can call me too. Okay, you can call me to my phone number. Okay, I'm just muting. So if you have any questions, you can unmute it and you can go ahead. Yeah, and if you want to call me, like it's like the phone number is 732-333-4781. I would say first try to email. If I, thing is I might be on the desk, I may not be on the desk. So so if I'm not reachable at phone, email me and we can schedule some meeting or if you have any questions, we can go for that. Okay. Okay. So before going this, I hope people got the syllabus. If not, let's discuss pretty quick on the syllabus. So this is what we'll be covering it. And if you have any suggestion or if you think you need to know more on this, you can go ahead and request so that I can include in the syllabus. But as for my knowledge, as per my experience, this is this is what you should be looking for. Okay, yeah, and you can of course every time you have to improve it, so you can request it if there's anything more to be added or something which should be focused on more, so um, you can do that. So here so first two classes we'll talk about various types of testing. So this will be pretty much most of the introduction, but it's very important. you know um, you want to know this. Okay, it's not necessary that you will be always using this all testing at once. It's not necessary everything will be using at once, but in course of time we going on like 1 year, 2 year, 3 year period of time, you will be at least coming across with a few of this all this testing. Okay, it's not really necessary that everything should be at once, but you need to know. Okay, so that's the important thing. Okay, second class, so we'll cover this, and then a second class tomorrow is very important. I it's very important class tomorrow will be because I will be showing as a QA tester, as a QA analyst, or QA engineer, or QA as a matter of fact, any software tester or software analyst or ETL tester or whoever, right? Your job is simple. You need to find a bug. Okay, that's the only thing which is required. That's the only one thing that you have to do. You have to just find out one bug. That's what they pay you, right? You pay you to find out which is broken, which system is broken, which application is broken. So we'll discuss about this, how to take out the bug in tomorrow's class. Okay, so it's very important to attend tomorrow's class. And um, you know okay, so we'll go only web application, not just web application. You can do in data testing. You can find the issues with the data. See, here's the thing. You can open bug it technically in any for any application, as far as it's your job is concerned, right? If your job is web application, then you have to do for whole web. If it's a client application, that means it's install system and you have to check the bug in that. Or as a ETL tester, or as a software tester, or any data testing also, you can have to your job is to find the bug. So that's at the end of the day, that's the only thing that matters. Okay, and of course you need to document this and all those things. We'll talk about that as we go through the classes. Okay, so let's go to the third one. Third and fourth class we'll discuss about the Rally tool. This is a test management tool. Okay, so here in this case we are using Rally. Don't have to be just Rally. You might work with Rally, you might work with Jira, you might work with HPLM. That's people most of the people only like HPLM. I'm not sure why, but they only want HPLM. So yeah, we'll talk about this HPLM too. Okay, so it's not just a tool, right? It's it's a test management tool which you have to, it doesn't matter what tool you'll be using. Here we'll be using Rally, but it's not necessary, it's not necessary that you will be using the same tool at the work. Tools keep changing, okay, you have to keep changing, but we'll discuss here the process, okay, the process of how we use it, not the tool. Don't get addicted to the tool. No, you cannot say at the end of the day, no, I only know Rally, Manu only know Rally, we don't know ClearQuest, we don't know Jira, we don't know HPLM. We cannot say that, because here the process remains same at whatever tool you are using, okay? So don't get addicted to the tool. That's the point. Okay, so that's a Rally. And we'll discuss about SharePoint. We'll go to the SharePoint. Here we are using Confluence, so we'll talk about this Confluence once we go to the Jira. Okay, so that's Confluence is named by Atlassian people, so it's actually SharePoint. Okay, so a different name, different naming terminology, but the job is same thing. Okay, so next we'll go about documentation. We want to discuss what are the various documents we are using it, and what is SDLC process, what is SDLC process, and bug lifecycle. And we'll talk about this various methodologies. Okay, the methodology is not a tool or not a software; it's a framework, right? It's a framework. It's a process. Process, actually implemented by management team. But since you are in the system, you have to know this, because the frameworks drives you to how you are supposed to do the work. So that's the point there. Okay, so these all are actually the framework, not a tool or it's kind of management kind of thing. But since you are actually in the system, you have to know this management perspective. Okay, you're not the one to decide it, like, are we going to use agile, are we going to use waterfall, are we going to use helical model, or we are going to implement our own model. You're not the one to decide, but you have to know it, because you're working with those people, right? So that's the reason to have this. And next we'll talk about the whole full one whole day for agile. So we'll see how agile is it's really coming up, because it is really fast. 6 months project, you're making it 1 month and boom, done. Okay, so that's how it's actually moving fast. So you have to make sure you also know agile, because most of the companies are moving forward with agile, because nobody wants to waste money, right? 6 months project, if you're going to 1-2 months, then so that's a company saving a lot of money, right? So that's how we'll talk about this agile. And then we'll go to Jira. So this is another test management tool, as I told you, like Rally. This is a little different interface. Since you have to get used to this interface, the work process is same. All the same. We'll be discussing all the same thing again and again. But since you have to get used to that interface, no, that button was not there. This button is here. No, I cannot upload my test cases. No, so that's the reason you want to know this Jira too. Jira and HPLM. We talk about this HPLM. I'll take in one class. But if you need access for HPLM, you can request about. So Jira and Rally, I'll be giving you access to email, and I'll be giving you the username and password, so that you guys can practice in that. So make sure you guys practice it, get used to it, so you will have some better idea. Next we'll discuss about QTP. So it's no more QTP, it's UFT, Unified Functional Testing. But here, let's for ease of convenience, we'll try to understand what the QTP and how does it work. So this is automation. This is not really QA point of view, but as a QA, you are expected to do also automation. So in that case, you want to know some information about QTP too. It's not really required if you're going as complete manual, but trust me, it's not that simple that you think of, right? I mean, those guys, they expect a lot from you. Okay, not just 1 or 2 things. They completely expect so many things. So that's the reason you want to know something, so that if they ask you, okay, why don't you do this QTP? No, why not? So when your boss says that you have to do it, you don't have choice in that. Okay, so you are not the choice maker. So that's the reason you have to know the QTP. Next, with the last class, we'll discuss about certification. I'll be giving you email actually before that, so that you guys can complete the certificate. So this is free here. There are three, you have three options to choose it. It's a free certificate. You don't have to pay a penny, and you don't have to move from your location. You stay right there where you're sitting and just have an internet connection. Of course, you need to pay the internet bill. Other than that, you get a certificate. Just write it. Might take some people for longer. Some people said it took 2 days. That's fine. Some people say like 1 day, or some people did it in hours. Okay, just 2-3 hours and they are done. So it's up to you. Take your own time. It's not you'll have 2 to 3 days. Okay, so concentrate on this. It's yeah. I understand it might take 1 day, whole day. If you're taking Sundays and if you're starting, it might take whole day. But you can. Again, it's this is a simple task actually. To be honest, it's simple task, because if you're going into higher certification like ISQB and all those things, those requires much more work than this alone itself, right? Leave this alone. That thing is pretty huge, and some people can do it. That's fine. That's okay, but not all of them, right? So in that case, you want to start from scratch. Okay, so this is a good place to start for certification. So there are other two. We'll talk about TFS, Team Foundation Server. Although I am not able to give this access for you because this Microsoft. This is from Microsoft. TFS is from Microsoft, and they have some convoluted access issue. So I am not able to give you access. But whoever is interested in a TFS, I'm happy to create a separate module. Separate. The TFS for you, so that you will be super admin of yourself and you can practice whatever you want. You can delete a project, you can create a project, you can add users, you will be super admin. So I can give you based on your email ID, but other than that, I cannot give you access. All these are limited access, so you'll be having always, as usual, you'll be having limited access. As a QA, you'll be having QA access. Okay. So whatever tool you will be using, your access will be limited. So okay, so this is what we'll be talking about. Okay, so let's go to slides. So any questions so far in the syllabus? So I hope everyone got syllabus. I sent an email. Okay, if you guys are not getting email, I'll be sending it before. Okay, let's take 4 p.m. 4 p.m. is the cutoff. Okay, I'll not be sending any emails after 4 p.m. Okay, although you will be getting before than that. But if you're not getting email before 4 p.m., then send an email at manu@America that you're not getting homeworks, you're not getting video recordings. Okay, so all those things. Okay, so make sure you understand that. Okay, because after 1 week, still people keep responding that I'm not getting email. Said okay, so you don't want to miss that. So you guys need to be more proactive. So, you cannot start from somebody said like I'm starting from from day one, but I'm not getting it. This was the end of the 2 weeks. Say classes almost to end, and you're saying no. So this is how people also, you don't want to happen such kind. You need to be more proactive. You have to remember that. Okay, if you're not getting an email or you're not getting homework, you have to contact me before 4 p.m. I mean, you have to give some time. If you have a new email, let's say today, if you're not getting till 4 p.m., you need to reach out to me, okay? Because I'll be here till 5:30, so you can send me an email. Even if you send it later, that's fine. I'll be sending you by tomorrow, and I'll add you in the list. Okay. So I hope you guys should be proactive. Okay. So that's the problem, right? There are so many people. I'm getting a lot of requests that candidates are not proactive. They're not proactive. They're not said So that's the thing you have to improve, because I take a lot of questions and a lot of interviews. I find people are not proactive. So I hope you guys understand what's proactive, right? If you ask a question, you have to be in a situation to answer the question. Yes, no, I don't know, I'm not sure something, but you cannot keep quiet. So do this with your boss and you will know how it is to be. Okay. So make sure you have to be, proactive. Okay. So any questions? So let's start pretty quick. We have only 45 minutes. Any questions? Can answer it pretty quick. Or even if it's not necessary, even if you can send me an email, okay? Because if it's a large question, some people were writing previous batch so many questions. So one guy asked so many questions. So I told, like, if you have so many questions, let's hang out. We'll take it offline, and we'll discuss, because we have little time here, and everyone has to be on the same page, right? So if you have so many questions, you can reach out to me, email or call me, okay? Or we can schedule a time and we can discuss one after another, okay?
Excuse me.
Sure.
Your voice is come and going.
My voice is, you're not able to hear it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's my computer or.
So okay, give me a second. Yeah, were you able to hear it now? Is it good now?
Yes, good now. Yeah. Before it was breaking.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, I will also try with a different system because I have some issues. So okay. So today, we'll somehow manage, tomorrow. Okay. So if you have any issues further, so we can see, can do that. Okay. Let's go to various types of testing. Okay. So let's pretty quick here. So here, we talk about this black box testing. Okay, so black box testing. So this is done by the team level. Okay, so this is done by the team level, and this is done by the QA. It's not the programmers, but testers. Why? Because tests are based on requirements and functionality. Okay, so this is a high-level testing done with the team level. Okay, not with the individual level. Why? Because black box testing contains sub-levels like system testing, like functional testing, front-end testing, system testing, and integration testing. So all this constitutes to form a black box testing. Okay, it's not like one, just black box testing. Now that's the thing, right? Now your boss will ask you this question: have you done that black box testing to the application? So they want to test you, right? So your boss will ask you suddenly from nowhere, and you're testing it. Suddenly your boss stops at your desk and asks some random question like, "Have you completed black box testing?" So you have to be in a position to answer that question. You cannot say no, I don't know. You cannot say that, right? So you have to answer that. Black box testing is a high-level testing done by done by team level and not by the individual level. Okay, why? Because it contains various sub-levels like system testing, front-end testing, back-end testing, because those constitutes to form a black box testing. It's not just one or two thing, okay, it's done. No, this is at high level. And if the boss asked to QA lead, that would have been more appropriate. Why? Because lead managers, okay, who is doing who is doing front-end testing, who is doing this application testing. So QA lead will be very good position to answer that question. But as a tester, you have to answer this. Okay, it's a high-level testing done by the testers and not by the programmers. And and it's a team level testing, not individual. Okay, individual, you cannot do. It's not something. Okay, front-end testing, go and do it. No. So it has 2 to 3 levels testing. If all that testing is completed, then you say this black box testing is completed. Okay, so that's the black box testing. And tests are based on requirements and functionality. So we'll go in detail about the requirements and functionality here. Okay, so let's see here. Let's take very simple page, google.com. So we'll talk about requirement is any, it can be any document or word to mouth. Okay, so it depends. Okay, what is business analyst doing, all those things. But here, let's talk about this functionality. Functionality can be any, any feature in an application. Let's say this is edit box. Okay, this edit box, this image. You see this image. This is the functionality. URLs. Okay, this buttons. Okay, this app. If you see this is the functionality. So everything is a functionality. So it can be anything. Okay, this button. Although this button doesn't work because we know nothing is typed here, so this button doesn't work. So that doesn't mean that Google is not working. It works, but you have to put something here to make sure this button works. Okay. So all these are functionalities. Okay, so anything which is there in the web page, including the images. This is also image, right? They have integrated into web. This is the image, and this buttons, URLs, drop down box, edit box. So this is the edit box now. They also have mic, if you see this, right? So that means you can also speak and get Google search by talking. So that's also a functionality. Remember, okay, that's also functionality. And this links, all these links and URLs are all constitutes to form a functionality. So that is functionality. And we are talking about this web page. It don't have to be web application. It can be client application. Client applications like something which is installed in your system. For example, Outlook. You see this Outlook. This is installed in our system. It can be, that is a client application. Okay, sometimes you have to also test the client application. Okay, it don't have to depend on Outlook or Hangouts. Hangouts. There was before Google Talk. Remember that Google Talk? Now they have removed it and put a Hangouts. Okay, so they have integrated with the browser. The browser app, and they have done that. But otherwise, it would have been a client application because you have to install that, and then you have to, you'll be working on that. So that is a client application. There's an example. Okay, so it's not limited to web application or client application. Any applications, you have to do the function. So that's the functionality. Requirements can be in a document. Okay, it can be a document, which is document. Okay, this is how, because you have to test based on the requirement, right? What does the requirement say? What are you testing? Okay, so it's every time the same scenario. Okay, so that's the requirements and functionality. Okay, so that's the black box testing. Black box testing. See, I'm repeating many times, so people have, for some people it's really annoying because there was I always schedule a feedback form. So some people said like you're repeating too many times, but the problem is there are a lot of people from different background, right? Some are computer, that's fine. Some are from different backgrounds. So in that case, I want me to also help them out, okay? But they may not understand at once. So that's the reason I repeat multiple times. Okay, so black box testing is a high-level testing done by the testers and not by the programmers, and it's a high level. Okay, and it's based on the requirement and functionalities. Okay, functionality can be URLs, images, drop-down box, buttons, okay, etc. Okay, that's the functionality. Now let's go to the next one, white box testing. So white box testing is based. This is the job of a programmer, not by the tester. Okay, and why? Because internal logic of the code of applications code also should be known. So let's take an example here. So again, this is white box testing. Again, you cannot say catch from random guy and said, did you complete white box testing? No, that doesn't work. Because this also contains too many levels for developers too. Even developers do the testing, but they will be doing different way, not like testers. Testers do on customer point of view, and developers do on the business point of view. So that's the difference. Okay, even though they do the testing, that's not up to satisfaction because there might still bugs. There might be still bugs in the system. Okay, so white box testing, it has again levels like unit testing. Okay, the SIT, system integration testing. All these are done by the developers. Okay, so once those testing are completed, then you say this white box testing is completed. Okay, you understand what I mean? It's a high level testing done by the team level, not by the individual level. Okay, why programmers? Because internal logic of an application code. So let's see here what's up. So let's see here, pretty quick here code. Okay. So now even if a developer has to work on it, so the developer will be working this space, not this space. This space, testers will be working because it's a, this is end product, right? This is customer view, whatever the customer view. But this is not the, this is the backend, not exactly backend. I don't want to say backend, but this is programmer's view. Okay, this is how programmers views. Let's say he's doing some testing, so anything which is located here, let's say some some minor here. So this is programmer's work. Okay, all the CSS and all this included in the programmers. Okay, and we'll not be working here, so we don't worry about what the code is all about. Does it contain HTML? Does it contain Java? Does it contain JavaScript? Or if you have interest, of course, you can look into it. But we'll not discuss here in this class. Okay, so but we'll just see what the code is and just have some knowledge on it. What's the code and what the developer will be working on it. Okay, so that's a not white box testing, but internal logic of an application code. That's what it means by internal logic. Okay, what the while loop, what is do loop. Okay, is the data is coming from something, what the code on it. So all these things is done by programmers, and it's also called as glass box testing. Okay, so here you go. So tests are based on coverage of the code statements, branches, paths, and conditions which are included in the code. So we have seen the code, right? So all these are included in it. So we say once all this testing is done, then you say white box testing is done. Any questions so far? Okay, so let's move to the next one. So let's talk about this unit testing. Okay, unit testing is like, so this is again, it's a programmer job. Okay, and testing an individual components in a unit. So in a unit itself. Unit means some module in an application. Okay, so since it's a programmer job, let's see here. So unit can be any unit here. Okay, it's anything which is included. Let's say this is the unit. Okay, not go to the unit. Okay, so this is the unit. Okay, so this is a unit that you need to test it. Not test it. Yeah, unit testing. So you are testing this particular unit here. But this is the developer. Developer will be checking it. So what's wrong in this? What's the while loop? You see there's a lot of functions here, a lot of variables. Okay, so you want to see particular unit of that application. So there is a lot of programmers. So it's not 1, 2 programmers, right? There will be a lot of people who will be working only on just one page. Okay, 2 to 3 developers, 4 developers, or so on. And the complex web page, and there's a lot of people. Okay, so this unit testing, okay, what is written and all those things is done by the developer. So that's called unit testing. So let's see here. Testing of individual software components or modules. Okay, some particular module, and done by the programmers and not by the testers. Because why? Because it requires detailed knowledge of internal program design and code. Right? For example, this is, we don't know what the code is all about, right? What code they are using, or what they're trying to do with this, we don't know. So that's the reason you require some detailed knowledge of internal program code. Okay, so that's the unit testing. Unit testing is testing done by the developers and not by the, unit testing is done by the developers and not by the testers. Okay, why? Because it requires detailed knowledge of internal program design and code. Okay, you need to know those things if you want to do unit testing. So let's go to the next one. We'll go to pretty quick here. Before going to that, we'll talk about this functional testing. So this is what we will be doing, functional testing. Okay, all this testing are also important, but here we will concentrate more on functional testing. Why? Because most of the time, that's a generic term actually. Functional testing is a generic term. Whatever, you'll be doing the integration testing or, incremental integration testing or so on. Before you cannot proceed before doing functional testing. So that's the important thing. There are dependent kind of dependents. I mean, not necessary, but they're kind of dependent to functional testing. Once this functional testing is done, then you have to, those all should be performed. Okay. So what does this do? So, and this testing is based on functionality and features of an application. What is functional testing? To test the functionality and features of an application. Okay. So what are functionalities and features? We've seen, right, these buttons. Okay. Close this. So these buttons, and this button and this app, this one. Let's see, this is working. Okay, good. So these are the functionalities and features. Okay, as a matter of fact, let's see here. Now, let's see, how I open defect. Okay, so we are not talking about this defect, but let's see here. I'll just, show you an example. Okay, I'm, minimizing and maximizing this. Okay, now, not minimizing. I'm just using it, but this is minimizing. Okay. This is I want to short my window. Okay. The reason I want it, because let's say I want to work on my project and I want to reduce my window size and see that if it's working. But when I do this, let's see here, my all icons are gone. See this? I cannot see this here, but I can see here Gmail images and this apps. The moment I shorten the window, it's gone. That's a bug. Why? Let's see here. If I want to minimize it, oh, this is showing up. See this? But the moment it's gone. See this? I hope everyone had some real example on this, on a bug. Okay, so this can be a bug. Now I'm not saying this is a bug, but it can be. Why? Because why that is moving up when all this footer is still saying the same. You see this? Only this header top is moving out, but not the bottom part, right? All this is being there itself. Why not this? Okay, so that's an example of having a bug. I hope everyone understands, right? If I'm moving this, it's showing up. And some people said like, no, your theme is not good, and okay, all these things. Okay, why not trying Firefox? Okay, now. You don't want to tell me that no, Firefox is not good, use Safari. Okay, you try with Safari too, it might work it out. But let's see here, how does this thing works? So this is what you'll be doing in functional testing. Okay, let's, we'll go in detail actually. This takes little time. Okay, good. Now it shows up. Okay, and I want to short my windows. Oh, here you go. The same defect you see here too. The very moment of my question is, okay, when I'm moving this to short form, this is so, but this is not going. If you see this, this header is going out, but not bottom. This is bottom. So my question, the next question would be, why not footer? If they have to go, both has to go at once, right? So this I would consider a production defect. Why production? Why production issue? Because Google.com, you're using production. All these consumers, who are using it is actually on production data. So all this was a production issue. If, when I'm opening something, this is a production bug. Okay, so that's an example. So we'll not just let's go to the different part. Let's go to Amazon.com. So Amazon is a little complicated. So far Google was good. The reason it is complicated because you see this lot of images here. These images are integrated with URLs. Okay. So what does it mean? Because if I click on this button, it's going to a different page. You see this? It's a different page altogether. Okay. the same domain, but you see this big URL. Okay, so that means it has a different domain. So this is more complex than this is more complex than google.com, because so far we didn't see images with URLs, right? So that means if I click on this anyway, it will move forward with this particular URL. Okay, so question to you guys. Okay, let me ask you a question. So far we have talked a lot about features, functionalities and features. Okay, so far we talked a lot about functionalities and features, right? Let's see. Let me ask you a question. I will use my mouse. Okay, so this is I will just hover my mouse over here and to the department section. Okay, so this is what I'm doing. I'm holding my mouse over the department section. Can anyone answer what's happening? What is the functionalities and features appearing in this web page of Amazon? Can anyone answer? So I'll repeat question once again. I'm just trying to hover my mouse, not just clicking any button. Forget about this button. Hovering my mouse over department section. Something is happening. Can you figure out what's happening?
It shows the department.
Okay, good. It's showing that drop-down box. Okay, that's the one functionality. Anything else? Anything other? That's good. That's a functionality. I know that business BA approves it and says, okay, so this is how the functionality should be. And that's how you, when you hover your mouse, you get more information. Anyone else?
It's provide the requirement in the department menu.
Okay, so yeah, that's right. These are the
requirements.
These are the drop-down box. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Anything else you notice? So, okay, so thing which you didn't notice will also sometimes will also be requirement. I mean, it will be a requirement, but it may not be documented. You might so this will be a document, and you might have document saying that whenever you hover my mouse, this drop-down box is appearing, and you can hover your mouse and get more information on that. But thing which will not be documented is, okay, I'm muting this. Okay, some people might have some issues. Okay, if you guys want to you can unmute and go ahead and Okay, so the second thing is when I hover my mouse, you see this back screen. I mean the brightness of the screen and the background is switched off. Does everyone agree? I'm just hovering my mouse and the brightness of the screen and the background is switched off. Now that's also a requirement. That may be documented, may not be documented, but there's here for a reason, right? When you are moving this, you don't want to, you want to hover your mouse only here and concentrate on this, not at the background. So that's the reason they switch off the brightness of the screen at the background. Okay, does it make sense? Just holding your mouse here, and of course, one of the guys has told that this is a drop-down box showing up, and that's a requirement. And there is also some requirements which you may not come across, or you may not, but you have to notice it. Like this, like background screen, brightness of the screen is switched off. See this? Okay, so that is also that may also be a requirement, but you have to figure it out by yourself. Nobody will be telling that. Okay, and there is a reason for being that, because the reason, one of the reason I could think of is whenever I am moving to this, I don't want some disturbance from the background. Like if background light is more, this thing gets dim. If you're getting dim, you cannot see this alphabets properly, you cannot concentrate on this properly. So that's the reason they made it background brightness should get dimmed. Okay, so that's one of the reasons to have that. Okay, so that's the various types of functional testing you'll be working on. Okay, this all come across the functional testing. Okay, everything, whatever you're noticing in the web page, the client application, buttons, URLs, drop down box, images, okay, images with URLs, so on, will be all comes under functional testing. So that's the functional testing is all about. Okay, so let's go back here pretty quick. We have 15 minutes. Okay, so let's see here integration testing. Okay, so what's an integration testing? So now we'll just here, go back to google.com. Okay, so here now there's so many things, right? Let's take an example here, Google app. This is an integrated app. Why? Because you see this YouTube, you see this Gmail, news, and shopping, all is integrated in one. You see this, everything is in one. Okay. If you click this, it will go to, it can be a different domain. So YouTube is a different domain altogether. It's nothing to do with google.com, because if you, the moment you click at this, the domain will shift to youtube.com, not google.com, right? So all these are different apps which are integrated into one application. And to test that is called integration testing. Okay, that means what's happening? You want to test it. That means by integrating that particular app into this application, you want to test the code is not broken, right? That's a major important thing, because that can be an old code, this can be a new code, and the system is not stable, and you might lose all the web page itself. Web page might not show, buttons are not showing up, images are not showing up. So you want to do that integration testing, so that once the application is integrated into it, you want to make sure both applications are fine, the integrated one and the base one which you are actually testing. Okay, so that's the integration. So let's go here pretty quick. Testing an integrated module to verify the combined functionality after integration. Combined functionality, right? Because the application might get broke. Okay, because of integrating. Okay, so that's what you want to do, this integration testing. Testing of an integrated modules to verify combined functionalities after testing. Okay, so because there will be a lot of developers, there will be YouTube developers, there will be Google developers, and there will be mail developers. A lot of people will be working, and not one or two people. You don't expect one guy is doing everything. No, there will be a pretty lot of people who will be working only just one application. Lot of developers, because for developing a web page, you might require people from Java developer, HTML developer, web developer, Ajax developer. If it's a video, then again they have a lot of things in that. PHP developer. So to make this successfully one application, a lot of people will be working on. So while integrating it, a lot of things happen. So you want to make sure that both pages are good. Okay. So that's the integration testing. Okay. So any questions so far? Testing of an integrated modules to verify the combined functionality after integration. Okay. So let's go to the next one. Incremental integration testing. Okay. So this incremental integration is right. Then itself shows incremental. That means they keep on adding it, you keep on testing it, you keep on doing it. So here is continuous testing of an application as a new functionality is keeping on added. So here, let's take an example the same way. Here, if I click on this, this is a 11 apps are showing up. But then, let's say they have increased more apps. Now I click on more. Okay, so there's more here. Okay, and even more. If you want even more, so this is okay. Then you have this whole page that they have put into this, that all these integrated apps from different things, from the Google, they have integrated into it, and you can check whatever. So they keep adding new modules, and you need to keep on testing that new modules. Okay, so daily they will be adding some new modules here. Okay, you see here a lot of modules, right? They've integrated a lot of things in just one page. Okay, Google Alerts, so Gmail, Forms, all this, and they keep adding it. Okay, so this is called incremental integration testing. So the newly they added business. Now this is not there a few months back, right? And for developers, they also add for developers. Now there will be something else, right? So that's called incremental integration testing. Continuous testing of an application as a new feature, a new functionality is being added. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay, so let's go to the next one pretty quick here. Now there is something called system testing. Okay, system testing is, now this is more related to client application. So far we were discussing about web application. All this is in the web, right? All this is in the web. Okay. Web in sense, so the difference between the web and client applications are, web application is something which you have to use a browser to access it. Okay, client application doesn't require browser. You have, that's independent. You have to download your system and see, how is the system working around. So that is, that's the reason the system testing is more related to client application rather than web applications. Okay, so here it's what is it do? Entire system is tested as per the requirement. So entire system is tested because the reason, right? Whenever you, let's say you want to install an application, okay, you want to install like Outlook or Yahoo Messenger or something like that. When you are trying to install it, okay, there's a lot of things that are happening in the background. Okay, registry keys gets updated, DLL files get added, okay, new files get appended. So a lot of things are happening, right? So you want to make sure all this testing is done. Okay, based on the requirements. You have to see, you cannot do, see, if it's tested, entire system is tested, doesn't mean that you have to test everything what is there in the system. It means based on the requirements. What does the requirement say? And based on that, you have to test. If it is something out of scope of that requirement, then you are not doing it. Simple. Okay, you have to always follow the requirement. Just say right, requirements are mapping document. Mapping document is a Bible for for the testers and developers. Even developers follow this mapping document. Okay, so similarly, requirements is a Bible for our developers and software. Okay, you cannot go if something is other than that. You cannot follow that. Okay, because that's really out of scope of your Bible. Okay, so you have to only follow the requirements. So that's the system testing. Okay, that's the meaning of this, right? Entire system is tested, but as per the requirements. What does the requirement say? What are you trying to do? That's more important. Okay, so here is in the background system is included in this. That means system testing is a part in the black box testing. Okay. Okay, so let's move pretty quick here. So then let's go to end-to-end testing. So what is this end-to-end testing? So we'll keep it simple here. In ETL, it's pretty big term. We don't want to confuse it, so we'll just put it as a QA point of view. End-to-end testing from the name itself, right? From one end to other end. So what is one end? It starts from smoke testing, sanity testing, then functional testing, integration testing, and so on till end. End is like performance testing. You might also want to consider performance or automation testing. So that's called end-to-end testing from one end to other end. Okay, but if you are taking as ETL point of view, it's pretty much huge because if, in ETL you are doing a lot of things. You are also doing in ETL, you are trying to do source testing, target testing, staging testing, and then you have jobs, artist jobs. You also want to make sure that jobs are designed properly, and that functionality of the jobs is good. And then also there is a QA in ETL because ETL is a little bit higher because whenever the boss your boss thinks that if you're given a ETL work, that means you also know QA, right? Because QA is also some part in the ETL. So that's the reason there's a lot of testing to be done. So, but as a QA point of view, end-to-end testing is from one end to another end, okay? That involves complete testing of an application. Okay, so this is, I also included this, see this database, network communication. So this is all, if you want to use ETL, so all this will also comes into the picture because okay, so because as a QA you'll not be dealing much about database, but if it is, then you have to also work with that. So that's the end-to-end testing. Let's go to the next one. Okay, here so sanity testing. Okay, before going to sanity testing, we'll talk about the smoke testing. Okay, it's not here. It's not there in the slide. Just smoke testing is you want to test an application. That is the application really worth for testing? You have to perform the smoke testing because you don't want to waste time for doing functional testing if the application is not worth the testing. Okay, because sometimes there are so many bugs that it's not even worth. That means smoke testing is already failed. Smoke testing means smoke testing is kind of random testing. That means what you'll be doing is, let's say google.com, just these buttons are working. Okay, let's go do this. Okay, this is working good. This is working. Okay, this is working good. And just do some smoke testing. That means smoke testing is done, and you can perform functional testing. So that's the smoke testing. Okay. So if smoke testing is failed, you have to reach out to the developer saying that, hey, you know what? Smoke testing is failed. Can you please fix it? Okay, because we cannot proceed further to functional testing until the smoke testing is fixed. Okay, and again, it's based on the project. Some projects require smoke testing, some don't. Okay, so it's completely also based on the project. Okay, so let's also before going to that, right? Just we'll talk about this. Okay, so there are actually three types of environments. Okay, there are three types of environments. What are they? This is a dev environment where the developer actually works on it, and there's something called test environment where QA will be working on that. Then there is a production environment that consumers, whatever you're trying to access, is google.com and all this thing, it comes under production environment. Okay, so what is this exactly, this environment? So here you can take it as server, different server. I mean, for the ease of convenience, okay, environment, if you don't understand what's the environment, so layman language, you can take it as server. For developer, one server, for testers, one server, and for production, another server, okay, for the ease of convenience. But really, it's not the case. There is much more in detail understanding, for environment, okay. But the three different servers, okay, so whenever developer performs in their own server and they perform their own environment, okay, and if the tester performs, they have to perform in this own server. They cannot go to a production environment. They have no access for it, okay. And the QA are not supposed to go to the developer environment, but if there's a case, where the critical application and you need to go to this pretty quick, then you have to also perform in developer environment. Okay, so the three important, and there are builds. Okay, so builds are like, let's say you have done smoke testing, right? It's got failed. Okay, the developer has to fix it. Let's say you have completed work at 9 a.m. and you found this bug at 9:05 a.m. and then you reported to the developers 9:15 a.m. So now what happens, right? Developer says, okay, good, great, you come up with this early. Now we have a build at 10 a.m. I'm going to fix this in 1 hour. This will go at let's say 10 a.m. build. So now as a 10 a.m. build and 2 p.m. build, 3 p.m. build. Let's say the 3 to 4 builds. Okay. Now what does this build do is whenever you found an issue, developer fix that. There's a new version, right? Whenever you found an issue, there's developer. That's a new version. So now that version, I mean, that got fixed and has getting new release. So that's the reason you need this build. It's kind of version. It's not exactly the version, but build is for you to understanding, like, you know, if the issue is fixed, then it becomes a new version. Okay. So now you have to work with a middleware team. There's no developer, no tester. Middleware team will be working on these builds. Okay, and they will, you know, what you have to work with them or developer to make sure the build is, you know. So what happens in this build is, right, code. Let's say the code fixed that, you know, developer fixed that code in dev environment. Now that code is moved into test environment. So that's what the user build. Does it make sense? The build is actually moving that code from one environment to another environment, from dev to test environment, from test environment to production environment. So that's some concept behind that. So that's how, you know, you can do this. Environments, basically it's all environments. Okay. Okay. So let's go to this sanity testing. Okay. So this is sanity testing. So as I told you, right, there is a different version. Let's say this version we have, you know, a few bugs got fixed, and that becomes a new version. Okay, it goes to the builds. Now you need to do this sanity testing. That means a new version is working or not. Okay, so that's called sanity testing. Does it make sense? So that's the reason you need to know this, because sanity testing you would not have understood if you don't know what's going on at the back end. So this is what it happens. Okay, once you found an issue, don't have to be small. It could be a functional, it could be, you know, integration testing or any issue. And once the developer guy fix it, now that has to move from dev environment to test environment. Now who is going to do that? Middleware team, not developer or tester. Okay, there will be a separate team who will be doing that. Okay, not developer job. It's not anyone's job. Okay. Now that's once it's moved, it becomes a new version altogether, because that software got fixed. It's a new version. Let's say they name that version as 4. Now it's like 4.1 or 4.0001. Okay, and now that you have to perform sanity testing on that because a new version came out. Okay, so this is all about testing. So let's go to this here. We'll pretty quickly close this. So there is something called regression testing. Okay, this is okay. So what happens in the regression testing is, so let's take an example here. Now I'll be having a question for you. So you have done your testing, QA. Okay, QA is done. Let's say you have completed all this testing from browser. Let's say you have completed Chrome testing. You have completed from Firefox. You have completed Safari. You have completed Opera, and all those things is done. Now you're about to sign off because you took 1 week to complete it, and that's good. And all the bugs were fixed. Everything is good. Now what happens? Right, developer suddenly changes some code. The developer found some bug. It's not bug from UI point of view, but a code point of view. Okay, so they have bug in their own. They will be having their own world. So they found bug in the code, and the developer stops at your desk saying that, hey, you know what? I found a bug in the code, actually not a UI, but I fixed it. And can you start testing? So can anyone tell what's the response on this? So he is, he just fixed that some bug which we don't know, and we don't even know how how it affects that UI point of view and QA point of view. But he is telling you to start testing, retesting again. Can anyone say what's the response will be? Anyone?
We can use the regression testing there, right?
Okay, you can use regression testing, but how are you going to convince your developer? The question is about convincing. You can, yeah, I know this regression testing, this is the topic about this we are talking about. How are you going to convince developer? You cannot say doing will lead regression testing.
Because like if you start the process again, it's a waste of a lot of time.
Exactly. Okay, that's the point there. Okay, so you cannot just because a developer stops at your desk and says, "Hey, you know what? I fixed this bug. This was a code issue, not the UI. Start testing again." Now you're not taking orders from developers. Okay, now you cannot just say, "Okay, start testing." Just go ahead and start testing. You can't do that. You are not. You have to take orders from your boss, not by developers. Okay, so now they will do whatever whatever it takes for them. They will come start by and say, do this, do that. But the next moment you have to is if you are not able to answer his question, then what? Let's talk to our lead. Let's talk to our QA lead. He's today. He came today. So let's stop at my desk and take him. You both guys take him to. So how are we going to perform this when this bug was fixed? So lead will say, yeah. So what we are going to do, since testing is already done, we'll be doing this in regression testing. That is an automation testing, which would be a tool to test it all this that we have done in QA. Okay, you cannot retest it. No, because there's no time left, there's no limited resources. We don't have enough resources to do this, and it takes whole 1 week. In 3 weeks, it has to go in production, and we are closing to the production. And you cannot waste time, just because some random developer guy, just stop at your desk and saying to retest it. That doesn't work that way. Okay, so if you are not in a position to answer the question, then you have to go to the lead and take help, saying that, hey, you know what, you have to say them, tell the lead, hey, you know what, I completed all my testing, and this guy wants it to test it because there is some bug, but what is your opinion on that? So lead will be answering this question, so you don't have to answer all these questions. Okay. So if things are, if you cannot answer any questions, you have to reach out to your lead. Okay, the lead will be helping you out. So you cannot reach out to manager for just simple things. So you cannot reach out to boss. So this is really not appropriate. Your boss will not honor such kind of questions. So make sure you're, reaching out to right guy. Okay. So here, what do you do in the regression testing? So we'll be, using a tool like QTB. Okay, UFT. Yeah, yes, Unified Functional Testing. Selenium. Okay, Selenium is also good, but it's based on projects, how the project is. And LoadRunner. So LoadRunner is non-functional testing, not related to functional, but that's an automation tool too. So any regression testing normally tool has to be used. Without using tool, you don't really call as regression testing. Okay, you need to have tool, and you integrate all these things into one piece of code, one bunch of whole code that the UFT will run for you and see if there's all the functionality and features got tested, and then shows up the result. Okay, so we are not going to retest it, or you don't want to do double testing on this, and you don't want to waste time. Okay, so that's the thing. Any questions so far? Okay, yeah, so you have to make sure, just because some random developer guy is talking to you and giving you orders, why do testing, now you cannot take this, you need to reach out to your lead, talk to them, and the lead should help you out how to proceed with that. If lead thinks that no, you have some time, you have resources, then you have to do that testing. But otherwise, you're not going to do just because developers say do. Okay, so also make sure these kind of things should not reach to your boss. This kind of thing should be solved between lead itself. Okay, make sure you are not taking this regression topic or something to your boss and saying that what we have to do. No, you can't do that. Your boss doesn't honor such kind of things. This should be solved at your team level. Check with your colleague or check with your lead and see what we can do and how he's going through it. Okay, so that's just an example. You might not face that issue, or you may face the issue. That's not the point. The point is, once you have completed the QA, you have to perform regression testing. Without regression testing, you cannot actually proceed with other testings, with performance or load testing. You cannot go there because we also have to make sure that automation is also completed. So this regression testing is an automation testing. Any more questions? So remaining will complete tomorrow. More 6 slides. Tomorrow we'll quickly complete this, and we will go to an application how to open a defects. We'll talk about that tomorrow. And yeah, I want you guys to be proactive. Okay, so that's the thing which came from the management, saying that you guys are not really responding the questions. Okay, whenever it's asking questions, you're not giving answer. So yeah, that was also the case for my classes, the previous batches. So I want to make sure you guys have to be proactive. Okay, so here when I ask question, only few people responded it, 1 or 2 or 3 people. That's it. Remaining there's like 10 people here I see, and only few people. So you have to be more proactive. Okay, so that's the major thing, because at the end of the day, you have to answer your boss. Okay, so how he's performing and what you're trying to do and what you have done. Okay, so you have to be very you have to articulate your sentences and make sure the presentation is professional. Okay, you cannot just keep silent. Okay, you have to be proactive. And I don't think I have 10 members email ID, so make sure everyone has to, if they don't get by 4 p.m., they have to send me an email at manu@itamerica.com. So I'll send you the recordings and the slides. Okay, any more questions? So if no questions, can we close this class for today?
Sir, can you send your email address?
Sure, my email ID is, okay, let me type it here. Okay, I hope everyone got it.
Yes.
Okay, so if you don't get by, let's say 4 p.m., okay, I'll send by 2, mostly before that. And if you don't get 4 p.m. is the cutoff. I don't send, it doesn't get that late for me to send. Normally it doesn't get. So if you are not getting by 4 p.m., then you have to reach out to me and, request your email ID so that I'll, send you all the information. So make sure you do it by today or tomorrow. So you guys don't want to wait for 2 weeks. Okay, some guys, some people previous batches attended the class for 2 weeks, and at the end of the class they said we are not getting material, we are not getting any homework. So that's the thing, right? You have to be proactive. If you're not getting anything, you have to listen to the videos and understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, so that's the important thing. Okay, any more questions? Okay, if no questions, can we close this class for today?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys.